guys. Didn't see you there. Just in the studio right now, working on some fresh dubstep. Today we're gonna go through how to make a dubstep song, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. So in a quick few moments here, we'll get you started. So today we're going to start talking about some different subjects from the book, particularly Chapter 8, which is like my favorite subject, and Chapter 16. We're going to go over sound waves, periodic waves, Fourier spectra, nested control, synthesizers, Ohm's law, amplifiers, sampling, buffering, digital storage and reproduction, predictability, monophonic and stereophonic. Relate these properties to get the sounds they want. Sound design / structure, synthesizers, transfers, media used, how sound played back, amplifiers, storage predictability, and the conclusion, dubstep.
That's good.
What's up? Just listening to Levels by Swedish Mafia. Anyways, if you'll follow me this way, one of the most key important features of a dubstep song is the bass kick. And the way that dubstep producers do this is by messing around with the attack, the decay, the release, and sustain of the sound that they're messing around with. Producers will try to pick from a library of different sounds, like the ones I've got here, the Vengeance sample pack. After all that's done, it sounds like that. Oh yeah, that hits. That's nice. That's what you're looking for. That's a good. Oh hey, so real quick, I just wanted to walk through some more of the basics. I've layered my snares here. I get this nice, rich tone. So what you're listening to is an example of sound design and structure. If you notice over here, I've changed the levels and brought them real down low. That's like -18, -19, and that allows all the instruments in my song to breathe, and it kind of creates like a box for them, because music is a lot like trying to shove a bunch of stuff into a box, and you don't want to suffocate or kill your song, so you gotta let it breathe. You gotta poke little air holes into it, make sure that it's all comfortable, and give it like pillows and stuff. And so by bringing the levels down, you do just that. You let it breathe, and you get this nice balance, so that when you play other instruments on top of it, nothing's going to overpower any other specific instrument. Okay, so I'm going to walk you guys into some basic sound design without making this too boring or overwhelming. So if you look over here, I've got my track loaded up here, sort of towards the bottom, and I've got my sausage fattener on there. This little guy gets fat. And I also have like 6 compressors on here, and the compressors sort of glue the sound together just by compressing the information and not letting it peak. So this is it's called massive. I'll let you just kind of. This is the first oscillator to let you hear what that sounds like, and it's not turned on right now. It sounds like this at a real low range. That nice grungy, oh yeah, sound. Get that nice sound. Open it up with the second oscillator. Start getting more grungy. And the third one, you really start getting that nice. So let's go into some sound design. So like we talked about in class. Change my voice. Okay, go. Every sound has different properties, like the levels here. I can change the levels, and this is actually the level of the decay, which if you notice starts bending the envelope, and I'll show you what that sounds like. And so that's adjusting the actual rate of decay. This will adjust the attack, and you'll hear it sort of slowly rising up. Versus a really quick attack where it just hits almost instantaneously. Just right away, which is what I like to use for that real quick dubby bass. You know what I mean? And then the release will decide how far it and how long it'll go before it loops over again. With a long release, it'll just go infinitely. Let's cut it there. This is another synthesizer that I like to use. It's called FM8. You'll see this dipping motion. It's kind of like the envelope that we talked about before with the attack and the release. It's going to give it that curve, and then it's going to dip down. But the second thing that you should notice right here is the waveform itself. Just like we talked about in class, the sine wave will give you the smoothest sound, the most crisp, but that's not always what you want, especially with dubstep. And there's actually a lot of different waves that are available, and not even with this program, but there's different shapes of waves. Some programs even let you design the shape of the wave itself. Not this one, but I'll give you an example of a sine wave, what it sounds like with this dubstep like yoi sound. So that's like a yoi dubstep sound, and you'll notice when I change the sine wave to a triangle wave, you get a lot more. I like to call it bite. You get a lot more bite to the sound. It just sounds a lot more aggressive. I'll change to some of these other sound waves, the 1+6. You notice you start getting all that weird, jumbled mess in there. There's a lot more harmonics, like we talked about in class, going on there. It starts peaking in all these different places. You get all these different sounds from just the shape of the wave itself. World turd, dubstep culture.
World turd.
I'll give you a short example of clipping and how that affects the tone and the sound of what you're working with. I'm gonna start the levels out real low like this, and this is what the tone's gonna sound like. Now you notice it's real clean, it's real nice. You sort of get the whole sound wave in there, and what's happening is the wave that it's generating is just being allowed to breathe, and it has that full spectrum of sound. You get both the top end and the bottom end fully integrated, and right off the bat you'll notice it gets louder. But another thing that you should notice is the tone starts changing itself, where you no longer get that nice and smooth top end. It's not crispiness, it's kind of distorted at the top. And I'll turn this down, and you can kind of hear that it's not smooth anymore, and even though it's louder, it's distorted. And I can always make it louder or softer. It's the tone that we're worried about here. That's what's changing right here to get like either distorted sound or nice, clean, pure sound.
So, every sound wave generated from every instrument has a specific tone, reverberation, time, and frequency range. Producers will use their digital audio workstations to manipulate these properties. This is done so that each individual instrument effectively occupies the right space in the songs and lets the other instruments breathe.
Yeah, so in addition to what Sir Hoffman here has said, it's important to note that the producers are always on the lookout of how they can effectively manipulate these properties to give each instrument its specific place in the song, so that it really adds but doesn't detract from the other instruments. Some instruments will shine more brightly, shine like a diamond, than the other instruments, while some other instruments just merely add very subtle properties, if you just put like a dab of jelly on an entire sandwich of peanut butter, it's gonna kind of throw you off. You want like a nice balance of peanut butter and jelly, unless you're weird like me and you like more jelly than peanut butter. So Hoff, how do you feel about that song Tiesto by Swedish Mafia?
I think it is a technological advancement in the music industry. It should be accredited for many awards just because of its creativity and design and its use of repetition in its periodic waves in the rises and falls of its bass lines.
Well, did you know that commercial AM radio uses carrier frequencies of approximately 1 megahertz, modulated by a microphone signal at audio frequencies up to 5 kilohertz? How do you think Skrillex takes advantage of that frequency range?
I think he caters his electronic music design to really amplify his music through public radio using those certain radio waves, and really expands the spectrum of music we hear over the radio, and that's why his music is so successful. The classic electronic amplifier that marked the birth of modern communication technology was the triode vacuum tube. Its operation is quite similar, with small alternating voltages applied to the control grid, acting to increase and decrease the large current flow between anode and cathode, causing greatly multiplied voltage alterations at the anode. Electron tubes have given way in virtually all modern audio equipment to transistors whose basic principle of amplification remains the same. Gucci. Well, I hope this presentation has been
World tour!
World tour, world tour,
World tour!
world tour, world tour,
World tour!
world tour, world tour, world tour.
World tour!
Press the red button.